Right now, there has been a twist in the court. For the library case, the judges highlighted that the sales happening in the secondary market, it's not a security. Now, there are like different implications for that. One, which is negative, is anything which Ripple, the company, sold into the market as a security. Fine. But anything which is being sold in the secondary markets, like me, you, and others who are buying, it's not a security. So the asset XRP itself won't be a security in this case. That's one side. The next one is Ripple, the company, cannot do another set of sales. So whatever they have in escrow, I doubt they'll be able to sell that into this market because that's going to be security. So they'll have to go through a different process, register this as a security or the security offering and do that, which I doubt is going to be the case. So maybe this is going to get burned, the escrow amount, which is going to be super bullish. Now understand the market is volatile. We're getting different news. Now you'll also see in a news like this where they suggest it's about Bitcoin. But the actual news was like they're preparing for a payment infrastructure, primarily for the fiat, but they'll also keep the options for crypto open. That's the real talk about that. Now, we have a lot of different news narratives happening in the market right now. But again, we talked about this few days ago. Just 4 days back, we were talking about that. And right now, if you are looking at the market is giving you this news. The market is showing you this is what's exactly happening right now, and stay updated with that so you're not getting frustrated with all these short-term volatility. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. We talked about this possibility from some time that this is going to come into the market. And right now we see XRP just below 0.4 and we know that is a level of support for some time. So it has been the support resistance zone and we anticipate that region to stay quite strong. Now, one of the reasons here is like, okay, the price is moving into that direction. Yes, agreed. But you also see there is a possibility that the RSI is going to come towards this support. Now, for that, you still have some room to the downside. And if you come into this zone, you still see there is some room. So bulls and bears are going to have a tight fight here to see how low they can actually push, because XRP holders right now will be so bullish because of the news happening in the market, right? They now get an understanding of, whatever they hold is not going to be a security, which actually means all these exchanges which delisted that asset because they thought the retail buying it as a security, they're going to relist it. Now they are going to get this idea, they are going to get this clarity without much delay, because if a judge is giving you this narrative for one case, automatically this applies for other cases too. Now we refer back to the Howey test, right? That's another old history story, right? The case which happened back. Now, in this technology, library case can actually bring some positivity throughout. Now, this will also impact a lot of different assets, not just XRP. And that's where the narrative, like if that was an IPO, the institution selling it directly into the market, now you have consequences. So you'll have to make sure you are on the right assets. Now, the positive stories, it's actually coming out like the floodgates are being opened. But what we have to understand is the market is right now trying to test whether it can stay in this range. Look at this range. It does show you like there is a lot of orders working at that volume range. So in this price zone, people are trying to make sure that that's a support. But after which, if you zoom a little bit out, we get the understanding like, okay, if we lose this range, we are looking for 21,000, close to that range. But when we actually come in, we do understand like, okay, this range where the price is currently trading, that's much stronger than this level. So For me, I'm like, okay, right now the bulls are actually trying to make this a new support level, but we don't know whether that's going to hold or not, because as you zoom out, go into a macro narrative, you do understand like, okay, the volume is shifting. You are waiting to get much more volume. You are literally observing the volume increasing to these levels. 21 to 22, you see massive volume. So if we drop into that range and then bounce off, that should not be a surprise for a lot of us, because we do understand that they are trying to put in a new level as a support, but understanding the previous resistance as a new support will be better. Now, yes, that's a 12-hour chart. You can go out, zoom out, and look for further details. But again, when you look for indicators here on a daily, the MACD is suggesting I'm crossing to the downside. So we want to see what happened in the past when the MACD crossed to the downside in a similar range. The price actually went back down. So now remember what was the time duration and what happened after that. We got the macro news of Luna Terror, and that's what just happened after that. So now the macro is shifting. You are seeing a change in the trend. So what we will be looking for is a macro test of the level of 21,000 support. That's going to be bullish. Market is showing you a lot of correction, but still positivity is still in the market. Some assets are trying to grind higher when a lot of others are correcting. Now, corrective action right now should be considered positive, because if you are going through these assets, they just broke higher last week and now they are coming back to retest that level. And if they retest that level successfully and bounce, that is going to be an alt season, which we will look into. Maybe next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we may see some momentum coming back into the market. Right now, when you go into different exchanges, you do see the fight between the bulls and bears. When you're zoomed in, looking at the volume, you can identify that. Look at this level, 22,500. That's where the price actually came in Binance, and we went all the way close to 24,000. But then again, we got wiggled to the downside. Sellers actually pushed the price to the downside. But now if you're looking at this, we also get the understanding like, okay, this can be a ABC correction where we are already reaching that downside. But when we actually take a step back in the same exchange, the same volume, the same price fluctuation, what we understand is like there is still a huge possibility that this structure is forming a corrective pattern. This is actually showing us this one, the high here, and then this one is kind of making a range where the pattern itself is not bullish. We are not actually looking at a pattern which is bullish. Instead, we are looking at a bearish pattern which is now breaking to the downside. If you remember what we discussed in last 3-4 videos, we talked about this possibility, the price action breaking this to the downside and the price coming back to test these support levels. Now that's happening. So when that's happening, XRP is already dropping back to the support level. That's one of the reasons why we are highlighting the scenario that on the other side, what we see is bullish movement coming out in the fundamental side of it. Now, XRP and XRP market seems not efficient in terms of market efficiency, meaning you get positive news, but the price does not impact that as soon as possible. The market participants take a lot of time, and that's why we see XRP being a lagging asset in most of the asset. And, by the end, the FOMO comes in. Then people start to search for the news. They get the news. Then the market is efficient. So the opportunity is still there if you're patient enough. And make sure you are not becoming into that level where the price is going down below this and you're still bullish. But right now, when you're holding this level of support, the news narrative and everything is staying positive, you may see more opportunities coming in the market. If Bitcoin is to test this level, that for Bitcoin is a further downside. Now, we were thinking like, okay, if we break this range, we may actually continue higher to 25,000 and come back down. We had like two options open. One, either we go down, test 20,000 range, and then go back to 25, 30. Or we go higher, test 25 and come back. So right now, the decision is still not in, because on a macro, we are still holding on to the level of support here, 22,500, which is the current support. If you actually take this and extend it to the other side, you'll see this was a previous resistance and a support, which is clear that we have some strength at this level. And if the price is able to go back above this, that will be positive. But now, remember, this is a macro stuff right now. Institutions are on board. Governments are on board. So literally, you are observing a ton of money entering into the market, and you need to think about that, their perspective. They don't have a time frame which is too small. They have a long time and access to money. So they are not literally trading on the short-term narrative, whereas they are trading on the macro narrative. So if the macro want a safe haven asset, this is not it. They will go for gold in that case for sure. That's why we are actually observing this news here, which actually clearly gives you that identity now. Things are changing for that. Even those guys who literally gave the market the narrative, now valid, historic, big investors giving you the narrative that's a pet rock, is now investing, as we know, now investing in these kind of things, the miners, the mining companies and all. So it kind of gives you the shift happening in that direction. So now for them, this is the macro. You had a pattern, you broke this to the upside. RSI suggests the same, MACD suggests the same. Just we didn't get the follow through volume. Now we broke higher, a retest and bounce would be healthy. So on a macro level, you're still talking about bulls, not welcoming bears right now, because there's a short-term narrative where we are like, okay, we have a drop coming. Now that's just 10%. Now we are not actually, afraid of that. If you remember, we talked about that scenario evolving in this market from last 4-5 days. We are talking about this. On 26, we actually talked this question asking will you be fine if the market actually drops? If you are heavily leveraged, say 50x, 100x, this move can wipe you out. Unless you close that position, whether if you are in profit or loss. But if you are not that leveraged and you have a lot of room to trade in the range, now you're not being hurt. So understand the fundamentals and understand the macro scenario, how it's evolving. This is adding positivity. Now, this is a new news, right? It's just come out, just been a couple of hours. So automatically the market will take maybe 24, 48 hours to spread this news around and investors will react. It can be institutions, it can be now literally institutions, and real retail institutions will actually jump in. Now they will buy, because if you are an exchange serving retail customers and you are getting the understanding retailers may jump back in, the price may go back up, then you'll better buy it below 0.4 and then offer it to your clients, basically, right? Because they understand that any sales happening in the secondary market is not a security. So that's one option. You get institutions doing that. Then you, me, and others who are the retailers are just running on to accumulate as much as possible if you think what you have is too low, right? So that's what's literally happening with XRP in the price pattern side of it. On the macro side, we do know that there is a lot of opportunities evolving. These price actions has to be noted down. If you have 10, 15 assets, make sure you understand what's happening. Some of these are breaking higher. We had those calls on, and as we look at this, we are okay, there's a lot evolving in the market. Just today, we went through a lot of different assets to see what's happening. For this particular one, we broke higher, we're going towards our target. So if you are sure what your target is and where the price is breaking higher, you have edge in the market, right? When the market is corrective and you still get this opportunity where you see the volume is increasing, now that gives a little bit edge to that asset on that particular day or week. You still get the Monday effect kind of thing. Now here it's actually literally happening on the Sunday because we actually got that breakout structure on that day and we are breaking high after that. So it's literally the Monday effect in the market is not heavy, but the market efficiency in crypto is not big. So we are actually getting that. And then we also have the January effect, which is huge. That's a shift in the market. And right now we are ending this month. So one thing which is important for us to note right now is that how will this monthly candle close? That's literally important. It's just another 24 hours. But understand, market closing this candle by erasing all these previous movements are super bullish for the entire crypto market. Now, if we are looking at the same perspective for XRP, that's red. That's something which we really want to see changing, because what we try to do is we're still in the range. If you zoom in and look at this as a price action pattern, what you are getting here as an information is that yes, you wicked lower and the price tried to go above the previous range, but the sellers are still active. But end of the day, who won? The bulls won this race. The candle is in a green state or bullish state. Now, you can go on a Heikin candle and see that's still having the narrative of red. Why? Because your momentum is still to the downside. Now, what do I mean by that? You go on a daily and you're actually literally observing that the market, when it is going up, it's taking a lot of time to reach the top. But when you're starting to the downside, the momentum is so high. Now, it's slowly changing, but it has not yet shifted completely on that tilt to the bullish end where bulls will be in control. Now, we can observe that. We can see that the market is changing slowly. The momentum towards the downside is reducing and slowly the momentum to the upside is increasing. Now, what we really want to see here on a Heikin chart, on a 3-day chart for XRP, is that the price comes to the 0.35, 0.38 range and then bounce. So now you have this level of green candles coming in and much lower level of red candles, which actually shows you like 10 days of bullishness and 3 days of bearishness. That's okay. Now, this is a 3-day candle. So 10 candles bullish, 3 or 4 candles bearish. That's completely fine. That was happening on the opposite side here, right? We got like 1 candle bullish and then we got heavy drop. Then we got 3 candle bullish after all this drop. So you really knew that the momentum is going to the downside. So if we get a shift here, this is one of the important factors on the price action side which you are noting, because that gives you the narrative of how things are evolving. Now, that's a 3-day chart. Now, on a weekly, not a monthly, on a weekly, if you are looking at that, you're saying like, okay, we do see there's a lot of selling happening, after which a little bit of buying. Now, things are looking like it want to change. The sentiment is changing. After 3 candles of red, you actually got this. You went up. But still, you got that November effect from FTX. So the panic came back into the market with that. And right now, we are trying to change that. So if we get next 2 or 3 weeks continuous in the bull sector, now we are looking for 0.5. That's okay. But the change in trend is going to be important, because here, this change in trend is going to give us a narrative where we are making a big bottom. So that breakout is going to be super important for all of us who are looking forward to this rally in XRP. So with that being said, guys, if you received value, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And I have one news for you. As you guys asked, I've actually changed the voice to an American male voice. So when you have time, there's just like 3 minutes. And if you happen to listen to that and let me know what you think about that, what should I do as a team to improve that, then it's going to be great. Now, it's my writing, so the emotions, the passion which I actually have in that writing is not being displayed in the audio right now. It's a new guy who's doing the voiceover. It may take a video or 2 or 3 for him to actually reach the range. I'm actually trying to give him the information from the last video. One is that, yeah, he won't have the same passion, because this is my life. This is what I think about life and success. That's what I'm putting out in the papers, the script. So the guy who is giving out that may not actually get the same information. But why I'm doing this is mainly if his pronunciation, if the way he spread that message is better than mine, that message is going to spread. Maybe it may take a year or 2, but it can reach a wide audience. Now, the way I'm looking at it, 68 views, 91 views, and this one is getting through 200 views. So that's actually positive, with some negativity still there, but we are seeing more people are listening to it. So the message is reaching far. So if my words can reach far more people, I'm happy to actually, improve whatever I have to do. So any comments and suggestions from your guys, I'm actually trying to work on that. So guys, that's it for today. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.